That's our first pre-roll. Our second pre-roll is coming up right now. The Oscars, right?
Yeah, 2023,
2023.
a year of uncertain certainty.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I mean, we've never talked about the Oscars like this, but the race is so fucking tight this year.
Well,
I
we
mean,
did
between
talk about
in the acting, I should rephrase that. The race is super tight in
we did
three
talk
of the four
about
acting categories.
2019. We talked about the top movies of 2019 a while back. I
Yeah, but
remember,
we were,
and a
you
lot.
know, neither
Some of
one
those
of us.
movies were nominated that year. Now, I went back a little bit to that year, 2019. That was the last year where I saw nearly every nominated movie except Little Women. Never got around to seeing Little Women. I don't know why. Maybe I'm
Well,
not
because
interested.
that's not in our wheelhouse.
I mean, I saw the original one with Winona Ryder and Claire Danes and Kirsten Dunst and Susan Sarandon and Christian Bale. I mean, that had an incredible cast. This one had, that creepy Irish chick from Deadly Bones.
Oh
Lovely
yeah,
Bones, sorry.
Saoirse Ronan, whatever her
Saoirse
name is.
Ronan, I can't pronounce her name. That, okay, now that was the last year, and we talked about Parasite, of course, right?
Yeah, the movie that came out of nowhere. You know.
I just want to go through the lists of all the Best Picture nominees from the last 4 years, including this one, I guess. So with that year, you had Parasite, you had Ford versus Ferrari, which was brilliant. I'd love that movie; it was a great film. The Irishman, I don't think it really deserved to be on the list. I think that was just an honorarium for Scorsese and
Yeah,
De
on
Niro.
upon, and I will say this, and I'm gonna eat that big slice of crow pie. Upon further revision, yeah, it is like not top tier Scorsese. It really is not. Like I tried watching it again recently, and I've got about 2 hours in, and I called it quits. I was like, nope, done.
Watching old men beat each other up. That's what
Yeah,
it should have
it
been called.
is.
I heard you beat up old men.
Yeah, it's like I heard you paint houses. No, I heard you beat up old men.
Now,
Yeah.
next up is Jojo Rabbit, which I really did enjoy, but I've begun to really hate Taika Waititi. But I did. I thought Jojo Rabbit was incredible. I thought it was a wonderful,
It was that
bold
movie was really good. I like Jojo Rabbit.
statement. Weird selection for Best Picture though, because it is rather inflammatory. Joker. I have to say, Joker and Joker and Logan are probably my two favorite comic book movies of all time. I mean, like I love comic book movies anyway, but Joker and Logan are right at the top too because they're they're much more for adult audiences than for kids.
Exactly. It shows you how good that R rating can be sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
but go, no, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why artistic integrity is the word we're looking for here, and that's what I like about Logan, and that's what I like
Exactly.
about Joker's because they got to make the movies they wanted to make, and the studios just basically said go for it. To a better extent, 2021 Suicide Squad was the same thing for me. I adored. I know that wasn't a Best Picture movie or anything, but that's where Warner Brothers just said, "Fuck it, we're just going to give James Gunn $200 million, a shitload of coke, and let him make the movie he wants to make." And God damn it, he fucking made it. That's all I got to say. So there is a
Right.
market for R-rated comic book movies. It's just studios need to get more balls.
Well, yeah, I know. Uh, as I mentioned, I did not watch Little Women. I'm gonna get around to seeing that at some point because I do think Greta Gerwig is a very talented filmmaker. She's kind of a homewrecker. She's up there with Helena Bonham Carter in destroying marriages and relationships. But otherwise, we are going to watch one of her movies. There's another her first movie, I think. It's called Frances Ha. We're going to watch that sometime later this week. Marriage Story was okay. It was a little rambly and too long and too talky and too Noah Baumbach. He's just
Yeah, to Noah
obsessed.
Baumbach.
Yeah, Noah Baumbach is the guy in question, by the way, with as a result of Greta Gerwig's home wrecking. She destroyed his marriage to Jennifer Jason Leigh. 1917 was kind of like excruciating torture to watch for
Yeah,
me.
and
It
that and
was,
what's sad is that movie was the fucking front runner.
yeah, I guess it was. But Sam Mendes is another one of those filmmakers that kind of bugs me, like Paul Thomas Anderson or people like that. Or
Okay, to be brutally honest with you, okay, I like Sam Mendes as a filmmaker, but then again, I only like four films, and two of them are Bond movies. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. One of them's a Bond movie, and that's Skyfall, because Spectre is like hot garbage compared to fucking Skyfall.
I really like Skyfall a lot. I
I
really
love
like it. It
Skyfall.
was
That's
such
a
a different.
brilliant movie.
That's a different movie. That is a different Bond movie. It's right up there with License to Kill. License to Kill is a very different Bond movie. You know,
Yeah.
it's
And
a
then,
product of its time. That's what I like.
of course, I love American Beauty. There's been a lot of backlash against that movie over the last almost 25. We're going on almost 25 years now. There's been a lot of backlash against American Beauty.
Yeah,
I still
I know.
enjoy the
I need
hell
to
out of
watch
that
that
movie,
again.
though.
I saw that when it came out in the movies. I need to see it again. But maybe do you think the backlash is related to Spacey at all?
It's spacey, the whole lusting after an underage girl,
It's called midlife
pedophilia.
crisis. I mean, men have
Yeah.
it. You know.
And then, of course, now the one movie that he did, which I fucking adore the absolute fucking
Please
shit
don't say
out of, is
Revolutionary
Road to
Road.
Perdition. Road
Oh,
to
good.
Perdition.
I was afraid you were going to say Revolutionary Road.
No,
I
no.
don't like movies that
Road to
end
Perdition,
in
dude. That
abortions, self-made abortions that result in death. I hate movies like that. Road to Perdition, is that Tom Hanks and Paul
Yeah,
Newman?
Tom Hanks, Daniel Craig, Paul Newman, Jude Law. That's that. Oh, that whole fucking movie is nothing. It's sheer brilliance. And
Never saw it. I got to see it.
you've never seen
Did
Road to
Spielberg
Perdition?
produced it?
Oh, I
Did
think
he
it was
produce
under
it?
the DreamWorks banner that may have done that.
Oh, okay.
I just remember when it came out, it was like heavily hyped, but then it like kind of went to the box office
You
with
know
a
what it
little bit
is?
of a thud. It was a thud.
I get
But
that movie confused with another movie called Bridge of Spies. That's also
eh,
Tom Hanks, right?
yeah,
See, I
I,
get
I
those two confused.
I'm still mad at that movie. That fuck you, Mark Rylance, for robbing Stallone of his well-deserved Oscar, you asshole.
So, the final movie on the list is kind of a different one for me too. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is Quentin Tarantino, of course. I did enjoy the movie, but I don't think it ages very well now because it's not a movie I have any desire to see again. Whereas I'm still watching old Tarantino movies. Like every time I get the opportunity, I always watch Reservoir Dogs.
And I'm sorry to say, speak for yourself, because the
You
the
stole
day I
it.
got the 4K TV, what do you think the first movie I popped on was?
You got that one right.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the first movie I watched in 4K, and holy shit,
Well,
was it
I'm just
amazing!
saying, for the bare minimum, it's a good Tarantino film. It's up there,
It's
but
it's a I look at it this way. It sits kind of above the middle. It's like
where would
it's
you
not.
rate it? I mean,
You see, here's the thing. This is where you and I differ. Reservoir Dogs, for me, that's actually my second least favorite Tarantino movie,
okay.
behind Death Proof. Now, my whole issue with Reservoir Dogs has always been the middle. Like, the whole build up to when you find out who the rat is incredible. But then when the story comes to a standstill when you get Mr. Orange's backstory. Because then the movie just stops for me. Like, it stops for a
You're
good
talking about Tim Roth.
Tim Roth. Yeah,
Okay.
it stops for like 20 minutes for me. It's kind of like that whole Fear and Loathing thing. Like, that first hour's awesome, but then it comes to a fucking standstill for 30 minutes until it starts picking up again. Reservoir Dogs does the same thing, in my opinion. Again, it's my opinion, but it just stands still for 20 minutes while we get this backstory that we don't need, and then it
Well,
picks
what
up
would
again.
be your bottom Tarantino? Would it be Jackie Brown by any
Oh,
chance?
no! Death Proof is bottom Tarantino.
Okay.
That's bottom of the barrel.
No, see,
I'm
I
talking
put Death Proof a little.
Now, this is, of course, I need to say this is directed Tarantino films, movies that he directed. There's
Okay.
also the story credit on Natural Born Killers. There's also the screenplay credit on True Romance, and the screenplay credit on From Dusk Till Dawn. I don't count those, though. Maybe True Romance, I could technically count that. And if I did, it's
them all.
upper to me.
I even count Natural Born Killers because, hey, I really loved it. I love that movie. That movie gives me a contact high watching it. But True Romance is seriously right up at the top practically. Pulp Fiction is number one for me. Jackie Brown is at the bottom. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I don't know. That's where you and I are split, man. You see, I think
put-
Jackie Brown is top tier. I love
Ooh,
Jackie
no.
Brown.
No, it's not. It's not Tarantino. It's Elmore Leonard, basically.
But it's cool that he adapted something. It's like the only time he ever really adapted somebody else's. Okay, we know he rips off other people. Okay, that's like us Tarantino heads talking here. But to be honest, this is the first and only time he ever adapted something.
I think he still has a style, even though he rips them, because every filmmaker. What Coppola's motto is "Steal from the best." For crying out loud.
Steal from the best.
But no, I would probably put Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just under the middle. I mean, I liked Hateful Eight more. I liked Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 more. And
I mean, hell, Django and Bastards for me are like two of my favorites.
you know what? I mean, Django I would put under Hollywood because I like Inglourious Bastards more. Inglourious Bastards was interesting because it's a movie I didn't like when I first saw it. And then I watched it again. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking brilliant. I get it now. maybe I need to watch Hollywood again, but I feel like he's kind of, I don't know. I feel like he might be running out of gas or something. Or he's got
Well,
one
why do
more movie
you?
in him.
Yeah,
He
he's got one
claims.
more movie he's going to make. So he
I don't
already,
really believe that
by
either.
your logic, you already know he's running out of gas. So
I just felt like it was too long. The movie was too long, and it was too.
I still say they could have trimmed a bit out of the middle, the whole Spawn Ranch part and everything like that, like that whole middle where it's like a day in the life of like Leo shooting the Lancer pilot and then Cliff freaking going to Spawn Ranch and all that stuff. Like that's where they could have trimmed, made some more trims. But overall, I still think the first half is great. Like the first act is awesome. The third act is incredible. The middle, even though I still like the middle, it could use some pruning.
Right.
So, but
Okay.
that's my
So,
opinion. So let's move on to
let's
the
move on.
now.
I
Let's
want to
move on
go
to the
to
COVID Oscars. The COVID Oscars.
right now. This was no. I There's only two movies here that I've seen on
I
this
have not
list.
seen Nomadland, by the way. I have
I
not.
have not either, and that was this is the thing that really upset my wife when Frances McDormand said two words, inclusivity writer, at the end, and my wife was like, my wife has been a struggling actress her entire life, and she's like, she's lifting up the ladder in the chopper and taking off because she had all these benefits, and now she's telling people they have to suffer under the weight of inclusivity writers, and now I have read that Hollywood has changed their guidelines for movies that are to be submitted to the Academy. You have to have a certain number of minorities, and you have to have a very diverse cast, at least subjectively by their standards, in order to be even up for contention with the Oscars. So Frances McDormand got her wish. So there you go.
Yeah.
Now the only two movies I saw on this list were Judas and the Black Messiah and Mank. Mank I could barely sit through. It was just really boring and stupid to watch. Judas and the Black Messiah would have been a really good movie, but it concentrated a little too much on the politics of what was going on rather than the human beings involved. I forgot who to. Let me check. I don't even know. It's not even the
I
only
don't even
person who's
know.
up
Like
here. I mean,
most of the 2020 nominees, I didn't even watch because the
most.
COVID year was a rough year.
But this is when they started doing this thing where you remember how back in the day, a movie that was nominated for Best Picture always got a Best Director nomination or a best and the top five. It was always like one movie would get like the top five Oscar nominations. They started really scattering these nominations all over the place.
Yeah, but then even back in '75, they did that with Spielberg. I mean, look at Jaws. He didn't get Best Director, but it got Best Picture.
Yeah, that was
I mean,
strange.
it didn't win, but we're talking nomination wise here.
You know what I think? I think that had to do with Spielberg's connection to Universal Studios and Sid Sheinberg, because
Yeah, I was just gonna say Sid Sheinberg and
Sid Sheinberg's like he was mentored. He mentored him, and he put what's more, his wife is in the movie.
yeah,
So
Vera Miles.
you kind of feel like not Vera.
Oh,
No, no,
Verna
no,
Bloom. Verna
no,
Bloom.
no, no,
Fuck.
no, no, no. Lorraine Gary,
Oh, Lorraine Gary.
Mrs.
Okay.
Brody.
Thank you.
Verna Bloom is she was that. Wasn't she the one in Animal House? And
Yeah, that was her. But
and
I swear
Vera
she was,
Miles
like,
is from Psycho.
Psycho. Yeah, I always get them names because I've always thought Verna Bloom was like fucking around with a Universal exec or something like that. I thought she did work at Universal.
No,
Verna
you
Bloom
may
did.
be thinking of Verna Fields. She was the
Verna
editor.
Fields. That's who
She
it
was
is.
the editor of Jaws, and she became later vice president.
There we go.
Her work was so good, I guess they give her promotion to vice president. But yeah, this year this is not. I mean, like, I don't know any of these. I mean, like, there's like, you have Gary Oldman. You have, for some reason, fucking Glenn from The Walking Dead was nominated. I'd never noticed. Anyway, Stephen Yeun, who's also in one of these new movies. There's another movie that's coming out that he's in. I think it's a Marvel movie. I'm not sure. Anyway, moving on to the 94th Oscars in 2021.
Better selection that year. Better selection of films. I have not seen. I have not seen. Coda. I have not seen Coda.
I don't know what that is. I don't even know what that is.
It's an anagram for child of deaf Americans.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
and
that's what the movie, because like basically the whole movie is about a deaf family, like a mother, father, son, and daughter. But then the daughter is the only one in the family who can hear.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So
sounds like it might be interesting, but then it also sounds like it might be 2 hours of torture.
Yeah, you see, that's where the thing is for me. It was like, this could be hit or miss. Like, it could be either good or it could be bad. But then the other nominees that came out that year is like The Field wasn't. There were just some good. There were a lot of good movies that year, but again, it was another year where it was like, when it came to movies, it was a really year.
I only saw two. I saw Dune, of course, and I saw West Side Story. Now, West Side Story was terrible. It was like, why did they remake the movie number one?
Spielberg, dude, you don't know why Spielberg always wanted to make a fucking musical.
Yeah, he could have picked a one that wasn't. I mean, like I saw the original West Side Story, and it was beautifully shot. It was beautifully performed, and also, I mean, like my daughter and my wife watched the movies. They watched all these musicals together, and then they watched this, and they knew that it was like there was something weird about it. I still have King Richard on the TiVo. I haven't gotten around to it. Maybe I'll watch it next week. It doesn't really matter. This is the important thing. This is the only thing people remember about. Oh, I saw The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Now that was pretty good too. I
heard that was a really good movie.
That was really good, and
you think Jessica Chastain deserved the Oscar?
Very much so. Okay. They even show at the end of the movie they showed her doing a scene, and then they showed the real life Tammy Faye actually doing the real thing on video, and they were wonderful. It's kind of a weird movie though, but otherwise, yeah, she was fine. She's fine. Generally, don't like Jessica Chastain as an actress, but she did a fine job here, and she did deserve that Oscar, more than Nicole Kidman for crying. I mean, she can't do the Ricky.
I mean, it doesn't go without saying that Will Smith probably deserved his too. He was pretty much a shoo-in that year, but then. Yeah.
The only thing that we remember about last year's Oscars is the reason why it's going to have double its audience this year. I looked at the viewing figures for the Oscars since 2019. 13.6 Nielsen rating. In 2020, that was sliced more than in half, 5.9 Nielsen rating.
Oof.
In the 94 last year, it went up to 9.
Okay.
This year, they're going to double their audience, and they're going to double their audience for one reason. They want to see what the fallout is going to be after the slap.
And of course, Jimmy, all the jokes that Kimmel's going to make about it.
Is somebody going to slap Jimmy Kimmel? Because I think somebody should.
I
think
know.
Adam Carolla should get up there and slap him.
Yes, that would be fucking awesome. Thank you. Adam Carolla should come up there and smack the shit out of him.
And somebody, actually, you know what they should do? Everybody should come up and slap somebody every 15 minutes if they want an audience, So a lot of people, we never talked about the slap, did we? But the thing about it is, for a couple of days after, people thought it was staged, right? And then we started to see the video. It was like, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. And it's like, what the hell happened here? And then he came up and won the Oscar, right? And he didn't even say, I'm sorry, Chris. He didn't say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everybody for what I did. No, instead he said something about Jesus or God or something.
Yeah,
like
he made some self-righteous fucking speech and about like, oh, King Richard, Richard was a protector and all this other stuff, and I was just trying to protect my wife. It's like, your wife's a cheating fucking whore, dude.
That is the story, apparently. She fucked his son's best friend. It's like a total fucking porno right there. Like my best friend's mom.
I'm glad this year has actually been a good year for movies. There are some good nominations this year, and of course, the one I'm most happy about is Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm very happy that it's getting all this recognition.
I have seen. What have I seen? Oh, I saw Elvis and I saw Everything. Those
are the
only two movies.
Did you see Top Gun Maverick?
No, I did not.
Very good. I have not.
It's very strange. It's very
care.
Strange that movie was nominated because the first Top Gun wasn't. I think this might be an award for just going and making a movie, regardless of politics.
The other reason is like Steven Spielberg flat out told Tom Cruise, "You saved the movie industry."
Yeah, because should that be a prerequisite for a nomination, though?
Well, it's not only that. Everyone has said it's better than the first one. But then again, it's like the first one isn't. For me, you're not raising the bar that fucking high.
The first one is basically jet fighter porn with a little bit of story.
Homoeroticism.
Yeah, playing with the boys, know. And what's more, it kind of like you can. I think that we can safely credit Cobra Kai with kind of bringing back that thing, because there are two scenes throughout the run of the show where, Johnny has a Top Gun fantasy about Carmen, and Carmen has a Top Gun fantasy about Johnny.
Yeah.
And it's almost shot for shot looks like a remake.
Maverick, man, I mean, I I may want to watch it one of these days, but here's the thing: I don't like Top Gun. I've never liked that movie. I love the soundtrack. I don't like the movie. I think the movie is very underwhelming because all that movie is a fucking Air Force recruitment tool to me, or
Just
a
like
Navy
Footloose.
recruitment
Footloose
tool.
is a dancing recruitment kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if the movie is better than Top Gun, great. You know, I give you a thumbs up. Go for it.
I
Am I
thought,
going to watch it? Probably not.
I'll tell you what, I thought it was really awesome that Tom Cruise got Val Kilmer in. Val
Yes.
Kilmer is like dying. He's got throat cancer, but they got him in to continue to play that part.
That's good. I mean, it's a good thing. And of course, you know, the movie made a shit ton. I mean, dude, Avatar got a fucking nomination. Okay, and
That I don't
I
get either,
haven't seen
unless
that.
it has to do with the money. Do you think
So
it's
there
the
are
money?
two money nominations. Here's the thing: we've got two money nominations here. Okay, but this is where we talk about the picture and directing thing that you just alluded to a while ago. Notice that Joseph Kosinski and James Cameron aren't nominated for Best Director, even though their movies
Yeah.
are nominated for Best Picture. See, that's what sucks about you have a field of 10 pictures, but only 5 directors. In the case of the
That
Daniels,
doesn't make any
6.
sense. It never
Yeah.
made any sense that they increased the nominations because,
Thank
to
you.
me,
No,
the
that was
best.
all because of The Dark Knight. That was all because of The Dark Knight, the movie that you hate, that everyone said that was the best movie of 2008. But comic book movies can't get Best Picture nominations.
Well, I don't hate The Dark Knight. I just thought Batman Begins was the better movie. I think Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises were way too long. Anyway, one thing I did want to say, okay, I wanted to ask you about Avatar, the original, and its nomination against Hurt Locker. Now, I saw both movies. Hurt Locker is by far the best movie of the two. Avatar has never been my thing. It kind of, I don't know, there's something about the movie that made me nauseous. But I thought Hurt Locker was the better movie. What do you think?
Um,
I only bring up those two because they were married. They were
See,
a couple.
I've seen. Okay,
Hurt Locker really.
Hurt Locker was okay, but But brutal honesty, I was happy to see Catherine Bigelow get Best Director. That made me happy because I love that woman's work. Like,
Yeah, and
she made my favorite fucking vampire movie of all time.
Yeah,
Okay, she made Near Dark.
Plus, she exists in strict defiance to this younger generation, claiming there are no female directors out there who direct action movies. And it's like,
And she was the first. She
and
was the
there's
first
Mimi
one,
Letter and people like that,
but she was the first one to ever win.
Yeah.
You know, and good on her for it. And it opened some doors. And now, was it Chloe Zhao who did Nomadland? She won Best Director. You know, so more. Okay, hey.
Yeah,
I'm just
but I
saying,
blame her for the Marvels.
the doors were open, but Catherine Bigelow, I'd say she deserved the win because Avatar, at the end of the day, I hate to say this, it's a gimmicky film. It's one of those movies that you had to see in the fucking theater to get the whole 3D immersive experience because when you watch it on TV, something's missing. It's like that whole immersive experience that you had in the theater is no longer there.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I will see The Way of Water. I just don't want to go to the theater to see it. You know, it's like I'm very.
I don't know of anybody who's seen it. Do you know of anybody who's actually seen it? Anybody?
Believe
personally?
it or not, no. And yet,
it's a movie that's made over $2 billion now at this point, and people. I don't know anybody who's seen this.
Single person who's fucking seen it.